Elon Musk is going to micromanage another part of Tesla. This time around, it's going to be to basically what he believes is going to be the best quarter on the record for Tesla. There are a lot of doubts out there for this, but he believes that they can do it. So he's going to micromanage another sort of and oversee another part of the entire process. I'll tell you what it is, and we'll talk about whether or not it's a good thing or a bad thing, and of course, what's going to happen, with the Q2 results. All of this is coming up next. Taking over the world, electrifying the world, E4 Welcome to E4 Electric, your number one source of unbiased electric car news. Of course, I want to give a quick shout out to one of my newer patrons, Julia. Thank you so much for joining my Patreon community, the only place where you can watch me live and support this independent YouTube channel. All right, so let's talk about Elon Musk. Just the other day, I believe it's only been a week, news move very quickly in the world of Tesla. Elon basically said that he's going to personally micromanage, along with his new CFO, the expenses, for Tesla, because they believe that the cutting cost has to come from that. They've tried everything else, right? They've tried closing the stores, cutting the price, all kinds of stuff. But this is something that he decided to do last week. I mean, I think it all comes down to, do you trust the people you hire, right? I think if you read any book on how to be a good manager, how to be a good business leader, it's all about, you can never do everything yourself, right? And I know Elon works very, long hours. I think the latest report says that based on his minimum wage salary that he claimed last year, I believe he claimed 90 hours a week, which is insane. But I believe him, all right? And that's why Tesla is where it's at. But what a lot of times great leaders do, and again, I'm kind of basing it on what I've seen and read about being a business leader, is delegate. And I think a lot of people would agree with that, right? You hire the right people and you delegate and trust them to do their job. And I have a feeling that Elon has a hard time doing that, especially even if when you listen to earnings calls, right? Like whenever one of his guys talks, like he tries to jump in and interrupt and make sure that everything is going the way he wants to go. And this comes with, I think, with the territory. I think Steve Jobs was the same way, and there are a few other leaders, business leaders, are the same way. But at some point, you got to draw the line. Now, where he's not drawing the line this time around is deliveries. He believes that deliveries are not up to par. They're taking too long, and it's costing too much money. So with the newly found way how he figured out how to sidestep SEC, he basically sent an email to the employees, and I think this was just for the employees responsible for the deliveries, and and of course it leaked. And even if it's really leaked, right? I mean, because it's there a lot of media have inside sources, and it's when there's a widely distributed email, then there's a pretty good chance it's going to leak, right? So I'm not really sure if what I'm saying is I'm not really sure if Tesla has to actually put an effort into leaking something like this. And he basically talked about how deliveries need to be better. So I'll give you 4 different parts of that email. It's a relatively short email, but he says, while our demand is strong, we have a lot of vehicles deliveries to catch up to in order to have a successful quarter. By the way, notice the very first part. As a matter of fact, the entire email might just be for the sake of that one sentence, and let me tell you why. It's important. Before that, let me remind you also that this video and this channel is sponsored by Byton. Check out all electric SUV called M-Byte, coming to the US and Europe next year, starting at only $45,000. And don't forget to reserve yours today. Don't know why anybody wouldn't. You don't have to put any money down, just about 30 seconds of your time. Go to the description of this video. You'll see a link there, and you can boom, put yourself on the list and join 50,000 of us who have done so far. Okay, all right. So the reason that this part of the email is important is because Tesla has been hammered lately by analysts that believe that there is not enough demand for the Model 3 in the US. which, it slowed down obviously because, the enthusiasm was really big. Everyone's trying to get it. And now it's just kind of a business as usual. But of course, in Europe and China, it's pretty big. They're just about to make a big announcement about the Model 3 that they're going to be producing in the Shanghai factory. It's going to be tomorrow, and I'll definitely cover it for you. But this analyst, Brian Johnson from Barclays, he basically downgraded the stock by a lot, and that's why it's kind of hurting it again. He's saying Model 3 demand and stagnating in the U.S. And you can really say that in so many different ways, right? I mean, like I said, you can say that about any product, iPhone, the new iPhone, the whatever it is that just coming out and was really highly anticipated. After a while, it will just go to business as usual. But the business as usual is Tesla Model 3 being the top luxury car in the United States in terms of sales. And again, that could also be massaged, but it's just very impressive, right? And definitely the best sold electric car by far anywhere in the world. So, and just like I said, we know that the stock has been really kind of suffering because of that. But and by the way, I'm not really sure why people listen to some of these analysts, because I think someone like Electric or whatever looked this guy up and said that I think his average return is like -1%. So essentially, he's really good at taking your money and giving like 99% back to you. Maybe I'm misunderstanding how this works, but I'm not really sure like why these people are even like have their jobs. Because you give me money and I will do nothing with it and give it back to you, whatever, 100%. So all right, so this is just part of the world I guess I don't really get. So let's get to the second part of the emails. Elon says, starting tomorrow, I will be holding skip level calls with America, Asia, and Europe delivery teams every 2 days to understand what's needed to accelerate our rate of deliveries. Well, on one hand, it's good. I mean, it's good that he's getting involved because it sounds like once he gets involved, stuff gets done. However, why doesn't this stuff get done without his involvement? Doesn't he have people there? Now, I remember he hired this one lady from Walmart a while back to literally, they formed a team of people in charge of deliveries to improve essentially what he's talking about, the timing and expenses. And then it kind of morphed into part of their, I think, sales department, some other department, and then she ended up leaving for another company. And so like, but what happened with that, right? Like, it looked like it was a priority, and it looked like it wasn't a priority, and now it's priority again. But there are people who are really good at it. Elon is not good. I'm just assuming here, right? He's good at launching rockets. He's a great designer, engineer, showman, and everything. But I doubt he's really good about delivering cars, right? I think this is something, you got to get somebody who's really understands and been in the industry for a long time, worked for different companies at different times, had different challenges. So not really sure if Elon's involvement is going to help, except for he will just put more pressure on people he has to deliver, quote unquote, pun intended, I guess here. But again, this is the 7th year after the launch of 2012 Model S. Why in the world are they still having trouble with deliveries? You would have thought, especially in the US, right? They've been delivering in the US pretty much for the entire 7 years. Why hasn't that been streamlined? I don't really understand. I remember I was shocked at the Q1 earnings call when he mentioned that they still don't know how to distribute parts to their repair shops. Just some things you guys just gotta hire people and trust them. He continues says he will also need to address the total cost of getting a car from our factory for the customers. Another thing I'm not really sure why it hasn't been figured out. And lastly, he said, per my earlier email, if we execute well, Q2 will be an all-time record for Tesla vehicle deliveries and an awesome victory. So it looks like this whole email, even though he is obviously taking action, I think it's wrapped in the overall message, again, trying to avoid SEC here to saying that, hey, those people are wrong. We have more than enough demand for the Model 3 and all of our cars. And if we just deliver, if we can figure this out internally, we will have a record quota. And I really hope they do. So that's where we stand right now. We won't be too long until we find out. So I'll definitely keep my eye on that. Meanwhile, don't forget to get on our VIP list for exclusive weekly stories and a deal of the month that's been going on for a couple of weeks. So it's only 2 weeks left. Extra $50 off of this most popular item on Evanex. And There's a couple of other stories that I'm posting on this channel in the next couple of days that I think you should follow if you're interested in this one. But for now, looking forward to your comments for this video. Other than that, see you next time, and remember to stay charged.